And it says that he reached out his hand and he caught him. So he's still sinking, but he catches him. And then he tells him, he's like, "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And if I'm one of the disciples in the boat, I'm maybe turning my head at this point. Okay? Peter walked on water. Peter trusted in the Lord. Peter went out to him and had faith enough to do that. I'm still in the boat. And now Peter sinks, and Jesus is saying to Peter, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Oh my goodness. I didn't have any faith. I didn't even get out of the boat. I didn't even try. You know, we need to, in our lives, have some faith. Let's step out in the boat. And if we see someone that's walking in faith, and we see someone stumble, we see someone fall, we see someone get overcome by some of the junk in life, and it starts to go after them, we should never go and point our finger and say, "Oh, see, yeah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have stepped out in faith. You shouldn't have tried to do this for God. Yeah, boy, I'm glad I didn't do it." We should go and join them and help them. What if I had enough faith to get out of the boat, walk on water with Peter, and if he started to sink, I could have grabbed him and brought him up and helped him with faith? If one man can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000. There's power in numbers. We don't need less people walking on water. We need more people that are going to walk on water. Step out in faith. Fix their eyes on Jesus. "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Well, at least they figured something out. I guess, healing all the sick didn't convince them. I guess feeding 10,000 people or more with 5 loaves and 2 fish didn't convince them. But the fact that when he got in the boat, the wind died down, and the storm subsided, and now they're going to live. Hey, he's the Son of God. They're finally figuring it out. Wow. What great faith they had. But we shouldn't be so hard on them, because many of us would have done the same things in the same ways. So they truly are the Son of God. And when they had crossed over, they landed in this place that I'm not going to try to pronounce. And when the men of that place recognized Jesus, they sent word to all the surrounding country. People brought all their sick to him and begged him to let the sick touch the edge of the cloak, and all who touched him were healed. And again, this is where, they limit Jesus. Everyone that touched his cloak was healed. They believed if they touched the hem of his garment, it was probably his prayer shawl. Maybe you've heard some good teachings on that. But they touched that. There's healing in his wings. It's dealing with the prayer shawl. You can find good teachings on that. They probably touched that. But they believed that if they touched that, they'd be healed. Do you know they were limiting Jesus by doing that? Why? Because they had to come and touch him to be healed. Did they have to touch Jesus to be healed?
No, the centurion.
Not at all. The centurion, his servant is somewhere else. And he's like, "Just say the word, Jesus." Could you imagine if they would have done that with their sick? How many more could have been healed? They limited Jesus' ability to heal by deciding how he would be healed. And I believe the reason that they thought they had to touch the hem of his garment was because of the woman with the issue of blood that came to Jesus, and she touched the hem when they're pressing through the crowd, and he turns around and he stops, and he's like, "Who touched me?" And we all know the story. And, your faith has healed you. And then the story starts to spread. Hey, she went in the crowd and touched the hem of his garment and was healed. Oh, all we have to do is touch the hem of his garment. And now they're going to touch the hem of his garment to be healed. Just limiting Jesus. At least with Peter, they got to the point where it was like, well, if the shadow of Peter falls on us, we'll be healed. Yeah. Did they need the shadow to fall on him? No. So he's walking down the street, and as the shadow falls on him, Then they're healed, because that's what they believed. With Paul, it was, we'll take the sweat rags. He'd be working hard and he'd wipe the sweat off of his brow and they'd take the sweat rag. And now, we got magic cloth. We can go and we touch people and they get healed. Just limiting Jesus, limiting his ability. He could have went to a whole crowd of 10,000 people with sick scattered throughout them and said, be healed.
Yes, you could.
And they would all been healed. But they didn't believe that he could say, be healed, and they would be healed. And so they limited, you can limit Jesus in your life. You can limit the power of God in your life. And it has to do with your faith. Remember, why did Peter sink in the water? Lack of faith. Why did the disciples stay in the boat? Lack of faith. Why did they tell them to go and send the people away and then they could get food? Lack of faith. And there's a way in which our faith is able to, I wouldn't say release, but with our faith, we stop hindering what God can do. Doubt, unbelief, hinder what God can do. There are people that will die that could have been healed, but because they believed were going to die, they died. I mean, I've met people like that. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to die in 2 weeks or something like that. And there's someone else with the same prognosis, same situation, same thing. They're like, I'm going to keep on living. And they keep on living. Yeah. Even in the scientific community, they did a study and they were talking about how people that believe that the surgery is going to go well before they have surgery are more likely to have the surgery go well than those that don't believe it's going to be successful. This is scientific stuff. This is not even, believers saying this, because believers are so strange and all the stuff they have,